So, we,
Jeff, you want to go ahead and start that?
Uh,
Tell me, just you cue me, and then we'll run this thing.
yeah, that's not gonna work.
Yeah, we can't. Yeah, you just gotta let me.
Yeah, that's.
Just put it up in the corner. Just put it in the corner. You guys got your feet up and ready to go? Yeah, we're good. Yep. Ready. Okay, everyone ready here? You guys ready?
yes, yes. Send it back up. We'll send it back down.
Okay, let's run the sting. Coming up after the sting, guys.
Coming up after the sting.
Yeah, go. Are you playing? Hold on a second. Hold on. Jeff, tell me when you're ready. Is that a yes?
Can you hear them? Because I can hear them now, because their mic is on.
You can hear that?
Yeah, so they should just be not talking.
They're muted for programming.
There. Hello, hello.
No problem. Stand by. I'm gonna have you. Yeah, just leave it up. Yes. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, leave it on this because I'm coming in on this. Alright, guys, we're gonna be coming in a minute. So we're just waiting for the stream. We'll be coming in soon, guys. So just get ready. I'm almost eating the thing. Well, I can't talk too loud because I have them next to me with their mic, sorry. Yeah, that's what she said. I'm gonna wait until after the. You ready? Tell me, definitely. Stand by. Stand by, guys. We're playing soon. Yep. Good. Okay, guys, here we come. Here we go. We are live, guys.
All right, hello and welcome. Sorry about that. Welcome to Colonial Stadium here in Plymouth Meeting, Pennsylvania, home of the Philadelphia Spinners. Spinners today are hosting the New York Rumble. Spinners will be in blue, Rumble will be in black, and I'm Matt Lowenthal here alongside Nick Darling. And Nick, we got a hot one on our hands today.
Oh, we sure do. We're looking at close to 90-degree temperatures out here. A lot of humidity. It's going to be a real test of the players' endurance and conditioning coming into this game.
Yeah, absolutely. This is really going to separate a lot of the tough players from the ones who aren't so tough. Tell me what we're looking at today. The Spinners are coming in with a record of 2 wins and 5 losses, and the Rumble not much better off at 2 wins and 4 losses. So what can we say about this game?
Yeah, I mean the Spinners are in a bit of a tailspin at the moment, looking to pull their way out of it, and then they're going to have a chance to make the playoffs, any chance at all. They're going to need to win today. They're going to need some help, even if they manage to do that. But that's going to be the main aim. So, looking at our keys to the game for today for New York. I say go for the jugular. This is a Philly team. There's blood in the water. If they were out in the Serengeti, they'd be an antelope on the ground flopping around. And if the New York team can pounce on them and take advantage of that, they're going to be a team that goes home a winner. But if they let them back up and let them back into the game early, they could be in for some trouble.
Sure.
Second thing for New York, Majorun Mazer.
Mm-hmm.
This guy has been teaching class out on the field for the last few weeks. He's got I think, 18 goals, 19 assists. He's a really balanced player working on both sides, and if he has a good game today, New York will have a good game today.
Absolutely.
So give him the disc, give him a chance to do that.
Yeah, Mazur's really been the rock for them. And tell me what we can expect from Philadelphia today. What should they be looking to do?
With Philly, Litany against Fear. It's a little bit of a geeky reference, I know, but it's for all my geek friends out there.
I'm not familiar with that word. But
but basically, Philadelphia, this is a team that looks like they've been playing a little bit scared lately. We're not seeing them take the throws that they need to be able to take, and we're seeing them hurting a little bit in terms of their execution because they seem afraid. And they're in a position now where that fear is only compounded by the idea that this could be the end of their season if they don't step up. And then the second one is the mind of Maroon. Coach Maroon has a lot on his shoulders today. There's been a lot of question marks in terms of the players that Philadelphia are playing, the strategy, that their offense seems somewhat inflexible, that they're not able to make those changes at halftime they need to against some of these teams. So a lot of it's going to see how Coach Maroon is adjusted and how he's going to come into this game today.
Absolutely. Well, this is going to be a this is the make or break a game for New York here. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with more analysis. All right, and welcome back to Colonial Stadium. We are going to throw it down on the field now to Alex Wickchen, who is there with Joe Smash Anderson, number 21 of the New York Rumble.
Thanks, Matt. We've got Joe Anderson from the New York Rumble down here. Joe, you guys came off a tough loss last week against Boston Whitecaps. It was super windy. You've lost against this team before. You've won against this team before here at Plymouth Whitemarsh. What are you looking to do this game?
We're looking to come out with the same intensity and swagger that we did when we won the game. So we want to come out firing from the very beginning, and we believe that winning the first 2 minutes of every quarter is going to be really big for us.
And how are you going to win those first 2 minutes? What are you looking to do initially?
Well, I'm looking to try and make a big play on some of their big guys like Art Shaw. You know, I want to really make an impact on the defensive end from the beginning. So if we can stall their offense from the beginning, then we'll put ourselves in a good position.
Okay, great. Thanks, Joe. And Matt, it's back to you.
Great. Thanks, Alex. So you heard from Joe there. They're going to try and put on a lot of pressure at the beginning of every quarter. Do you expect that's going to work for them?
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be the key. It's what we talked about in the keys to the game, that we needed to make sure that they, came out and had that intensity early and didn't let Philly feel like they were ever in it. So
absolutely. All right, we're going to throw it down to Alex one more time. She's there with Sean Murray from the Spinners.
Thanks, Matt. We've got Sean Murray here of the Philadelphia Spinners. Sean, you guys have had kind of a tough losing streak, and this is your game that you need to win it, really, to stay in the whole running for the playoffs. What are you guys looking to do?
Well, we're looking back to get to our early season form when we were having a little bit more success. We consider this a playoff game, and no reason we can't win at home. We've succeeded against New York in the past, and we believe we're going to succeed here today.
Absolutely. What kind of changes have you guys made from the last game to this one?
Well, we made some adjustments with some of the offensive sets we're running. You're about to find out and see what we're doing there. And on the defensive side, we really just need to convert. we're getting chances, but really, converting those Ds into points is something that we're going to need to do to win.
Awesome. Thanks, Sean. Back to you, Matt.
All right, thanks, Alex. Well, we're going to take it down to the field now. The Philadelphia Spinners are set to pull on defense, and New York Rumble set to receive. So this is it. This is the test for these teams, Nick. We're going to see which team is going to be coming out hot.
I think we're going to know a lot about this game right in the early going, Matt. We're going to see which team from Philadelphia showed up and which team from New York showed up.
Yeah, obviously, New York last time came out very hot when they were here against Philadelphia and ended up winning that game. There you see Mike Panna, number 21, with the pull. Bosco picks up to Mazur. Mazur gets a lot of touches for the Rumble. Over to Bosco again. You see Alcott with the disc. Bosco looking for Mazur up line. Mazur surveys the field, puts in a fake and hits. Looks like Murphy up line. Goes deep to Heyman. And Heyman comes down with it. One-handed grab. Dan Heyman.
Big early strike there from New York, coming out, moving the disc very confidently, and coming down with a nice big catch to start. You can see that we have a little bit of breeze from our left to right, and that's going to hang some of those discs up that are going in that direction. If we keep an eye here, we'll see, I think, throughout the day that the teams that are attacking this left-handed end zone where the Spinners just pulled from are going to be really having to think about their deep throws.
Yeah, so that was a good point for New York then. They got that crucial upwinder there. It's not super windy like you said, but that's a big way to get it started. Here you see number 47, Lucas Murphy, with the set to pull for New York.
Yeah, I think what we're going to see in this game, like in most games, that these pulls and the teams that get down quickly on defense are going to be the ones that have a pretty significant advantage. Philly's had some trouble getting stuck in their own end. And here's a good example of that right now.
Jonah Wish letting that pull go right over his head. Centers it to Hiernett. Hiernett, one of the better throwers on the team and in the league as a whole. Swung over to Art Schull. And Philadelphia working pin back pretty deep in their end zone now. Looking to get a little bit of small ball. And
oh my goodness.
Number
Callahan.
3, Jonathan Cox comes out of nowhere, snags the Callahan, catches a D and scores a point at the very same time for New York. And there you go. There's your big shot early.
Oh my goodness. That's the kind of mental error that you just cannot make in the beginning of these games. It's the type of thing that's going to put Philadelphia on their heels, and what a big moment for New York, getting a Callahan this early in the game and getting one that looked, for all intents and purposes, relatively easy.
That was not the most challenging Callahan, but I think it goes back to what you were saying. The New York pull just set them back, and you realize that every yard counts in this game.
Yeah, you get pinned back in your end zone like that, you're always at risk for that type of play, and then a very smart defensive play there, stepping into the lane, little poach defense, comes up with a big point.
Yep, Cox saw the opening and took advantage of it. Puts another point on the board. Murphy with the pull. Spinners with their standard O-line out there. Glazer centers to Hiernett. Over to Bear. Back to Hiernett. Not a lot of movement downfield for the Spinners. Schull throws to wide open Patrick DeVinny, who overthrows Katzenbach. Well, they're giving it to New York early here.
I tell you, and if New York, like we said, if New York can just step on them here, just keep the pressure up, keep scoring on these turns, Philadelphia's going to have a long, hard day out in that hot sun.
Yep. Anderson surveys the field with a nice break throw. Over to Van Lang. Stoddard back to Murphy. Seems to be a call. An injury on the field. Looks like Joe Smash Anderson, number 21, who's doing work on, appears to be Art Schull.
Yeah, that's a blow for New York. A big defensive player limping off the field right now. It looks like Looks like maybe a little bit of an ankle problem there.
Yeah, Anderson's one of the taller guys on New York, and that could be a big blow for them if he can't make it back on the field.
He'll get over there and get some treatment on the sidelines. Let's see what we'll have to see if we see him again later on.
So Murphy checks it back in. Van Lang doesn't see anything upfield. He's looking for Murphy. Gets a nice around throw and it really sets him back. Oh, and Stoddard can't come up with it. Throw was tailing away from him, and Stoddard could not put his hands on it.
He was definitely tracking that the whole way. Thought he might get to it.
Over to Chow. Chow is sure-handed thrower here. And a nice, easy throw to Art Schull. Nice, easy cut in the front of the end zone.
I think we really have to credit the dump defense with that turn there. Nice, hard defense. New York was trying to work the disc up with a short throw to that dump cutter coming around the mark. And then we see a nice finish here.
You can't leave Art Schull open like that.
You certainly can, especially on the open side. But that's the great thing. A good D puts you in good field position for a nice short, easy goal. And just what the doctor ordered for Philadelphia after going down 2-0 off the bat.
Absolutely. It looked like a pretty tight mark they were throwing on Van Lang of the rumble there, and seemed to enable that difficult throw that he had to put way too far out there.
So we have just coming in now. We have a final from the game out with the Seattle Rainmakers versus the Portland Stags. Seattle won that game 24-12. A pretty significant showing for Seattle, which ends Portland's hopes for the playoffs.
That hurts if you're Portland. You had actually doubled up 24-12.
Not something we've seen often in this league, and these two teams are a good example of that. They've played twice, each team winning one of those encounters, and the average margin of victory was 2.5 points with these two teams. So these are two tightly matched sides.
Yeah.
I don't expect a similar scoreline here today, let's say.
Alade with the disc. Sees Gillies, number 44, and a nice easy throw up the line to Mazer. And Mazer just adding to his tally today.
Yeah, I mean, you don't like to see Mazer that open up the line, but part of the reason is that he's dangerous in both directions. Dangerous coming in, dangerous going out. You pick away and he beats you the other way.
And I would think, you're so used to Mazer being sort of the centerpiece of their handler line. He usually makes most of the throws. So if you play him to be in the backfield and that he runs up as a cutter and he's wide open as you see there. So he can really surprise you if you take your eye off him.
So how much of a factor do you think this heat will be out here today? And I think we have to think about how much of a factor it is going through the rest of the season as well.
Yeah, the season's going to be heating up. I got to think the early points for both these teams, they'll be okay. And then once you get to the third and fourth quarters and the heat is still beating down on them, you're going to see.
Particularly in Philadelphia here where games tend to start at 6. And it looks like we have a timeout there by the Philadelphia Spinners here in net.
The last second timeout, did not see anything upfield. Great defense from the Rumble around the disc and downfield.
Now, does the stall count, does that reset on a timeout, or is he looking at the exact same stall count?
He is. He's going to get a fresh set of 7 seconds. He's going to get to look to his main options again, so he's not going to have to panic.
So a pretty strong call then. If you're going high in that stall count, you got good field position.
Very, very smart call for here, Ned. He realized what the count was, and did not see anything downfield. Knew he could use a fresh 7 seconds, and it's a little early in the half to burn your timeout. I don't know if that's exactly how they drew it up, but a good play nonetheless.
Well, something we've been noticing, I think, about Philadelphia recently is that coming out of timeouts, and this is partially anecdotal, but coming out of timeouts, they've been struggling a little bit in putting a play together, leaving the timeout. So I'm interested to see here if they can make good use of this break.
Yeah, Philly just hasn't really found their go-to guy. They have some great players, but they haven't found that one guy who's going to put the team on his back yet. We'll see if they can get it today. So here Net's set to check the disc in off the timeout. He's got Murray last in the stack. Katzenbach set up right in front of him, about 10 yards downfield. And there, yep, Jonathan Cox with the D, and off of the very first throw, Philadelphia cannot get it done. Hirna tries to get it back with a huge bid, but it doesn't matter. Lucas Murphy finds a relatively well covered but still open Joe Smash Anderson. Anderson back on the field after his injury.
Yeah, the ankle looked all right there, didn't it?
He looked fine on that play. And boy, if you're Philadelphia, not only have you burned your timeout, you turn it over on the very first throw. That's got to be demoralizing.
I mean, it's exactly what we were just talking about, isn't it? You take that timeout, you have a chance to set, and you have a chance to make something happen, and instead you end up just throwing the disc away.
Yeah, and Hirnet, if he's not going to be throwing well, I don't know who's going to get it done for him. Cox came around with a fantastic D.
Oh, certainly. I mean, he had a nice tight mark on Bear there in the backfield, and just set him up, stepped in, took the throw away.
So is this the Philadelphia team we're used to seeing now? These last, say, 5.5 games, they're much the same, it seems.
Yeah, unfortunately, it does seem that way. It seems like we have a team that is that's playing again. I think a little bit nervous. Hirnet looks upfield for a few counts, then turns around and locks himself into that dump. And you're just not seeing it. You would expect to get at least one upfield throw there coming out of the timeout. Have a play set up to get you that.
Trigub receiving the pull. First point for Trigub today. Over to Katzenbach. Katzenbach, a pretty sure-handed distributor of the disc. Gets it up to Murray. You usually see Murray playing on the D line, as far as I remember. Oh, and grabs a very unintended for him throw right behind him.
Yeah, I mean, I have a feeling that Philly, realizing the sort of difficulties they've been having, they're going to look to players like Murray to play a little bit on both sides of the disc. We'll have to see how he does in the heat.
Yeah, Murray, we know he's one of their better players, so he's going to have to do some double duty. Looking for a Trigub, number 3. Breaks to Katzenbach. Katzenbach doesn't have anybody open. Murray open for a second. Swings it over to Trigub, who puts a big throw around to a diving Art Shaw, who just can't come up with it. That's a tough throw.
A very tough throw, and it looked like Art got fooled. Thought that the D was going to be made there by Lucas Murphy, and when it got by him, seemed a little surprised by it.
Oh, an uncharacteristic drop from Kevin Terry. Gives Philadelphia the disc 20 yards outside their end zone. And Dave Bayer looking for Art Shaw again, also covered by Murphy. Oh, and Murphy gets the easy D. They both went up a little bit early on that one. Shaw, you're not used to seeing that from him.
Yeah, I mean, Art Shaw's the kind of guy that anything over his head is just where he likes it typically, and he just got D'd effectively by a guy 6 inches shorter than him, which is a credit to the defense.
Absolutely. New York with some good movement across the field, really using the full 53 1/3 yards here, and Dave Bayer comes up with the D, helping his team out there. Nice run through D.
Dave Bayer is sort of underestimated for his defensive capabilities. He seems to get a couple of those a game, one a game maybe, that are big moments. So nice D there from Dave Bayer.
Absolutely. Bayer, I think, is also one of the top 2 or 3 guys on the spinners in touches of the disc. Katzenbach puts it up to number 9, Patrick DeVinny, and it just bounces out of his hands.
And New York putting a merciful pause in this sort of difficult point that both teams are having here. Here's a replay.
See it. This is, I don't know. I think most middle schoolers would grab that one. It's right in his face.
I feel like there's very little excuse for that drop.
If you're Philadelphia, I don't think you could have written that last point any worse than they just played it. 3 possessions within, say, 30 yards of the end zone, 3 turnovers. What can Coach Maroon say to them that's going to make this work? What is he saying now?
I don't know what you say in this situation. I think it's What's he going to say now that he hasn't been saying for the last 5 weeks?
That's a good point. Philly has struggled early in games and
late in games.
And late in games, they've also struggled during the middle of some of their games. So it hasn't been an easy game. Philadelphia is undefeated at home. They have not won a single game at home this season, and their fans can't be happy with that.
No, definitely not. And you have fans out here braving this heat, hoping to see that first at home win. And they the team owes them something. So we'll see if they can put something together. I mean, we have to remember that it's this is early in the first quarter. They're only down 3 at the moment. New York has had some play that has been somewhat shaky at times as well. So this is going to be a long game, and it's going to have a lot of back and forth, I have a feeling, in the long run. But we'd really like to see both teams get into their groove, shake off the nerves.
Absolutely. And Chris Mazer in off the timeout puts up a big huck to number 1, Markian Kuzmowicz, and he can't come up with it. He's tied up by Mike Panna of the Spinners. Panna picks up and centers it over to Mike Baer. I think Kuzmowicz was looking for the foul there, but it looked pretty clean. Centers it over to Braz, and Braz can't get it.
Another quick turnover there on a throwing error.
I feel like a broken record at this point. Simple throws, relatively simple throws for Philadelphia, and Philadelphia is just throwing it down the drain. You see Mazer throwing a nice score there.
Yeah, I mean, New York has done a good job for the most part, other than, this point's been a little bit back and forth. For the most part, though, when they get a turnover in their own half, they've been quick to put the point away. And, that's how you have to be in this league. You have to use each turnover you get. Your defensive line has to be able to score. That's where you're going to win those games.
Absolutely.
And
so
they've done it today.
They sure have. You see number 47, Lucas Murphy, with the disc again. Murphy's been getting most of the pulling duties for New York so far. New York's D-line sure seeing a lot of time out on the field today. They did get to bring their offensive line in off that turnover on the last point, because you can substitute in your lines, but defensive line goes back to work here. Score 5-1 New York. Tregoob centers it over to Dave Baer, number 20, brother of Mike Baer. Katzenbach being given the in cut. Finds Murray. Murray sees a open Dave Baer going deep. Baer turns it around, comes in. Shell spreads the field over to Glazer. Oh, and a risky throw. And Dave Baer tripped up. Looked like number 3, Jonathan Cox, on the D there.
Yeah, a little leg tangle there. We got up looking for the foul, but I don't think he's going to pick one up on that. Again, another high-risk throw, and in the end, poorly executed throw.
It's like Littauer with the disc. Very nice little nifty break, flick break. Joe Smash on the far sideline now. And he calls another timeout. So that's something I'm not expecting, is 2 timeouts in the first quarter.
Yeah, so New York burns their second timeout.
So we're gonna take it to a quick commercial break here, and we'll be back with more of the first quarter after this. All right, and here we are back at Colonial Stadium, coming in off a timeout here in the first quarter. 2 minutes and looks like 16 seconds left to play, and New York coming in, taking an early lead, 5-1, and it's just the first quarter, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, it's it is still early in the game, but as we talked about in the beginning, this is a Philadelphia team that's on the ropes, that's struggling to keep their season alive, and one of the things we said that they couldn't afford to do was go down big early. And here we are. So,
I guess they didn't hear you.
they weren't listening to the broadcast over there on the sideline. But we'll see if they can they can dig their way out of this, a point or two and you're back in it. So they need a big D here, and then they need something going the other way.
Coming in off the timeout, Philadelphia does get to bring in their defensive line. They see Skylar Redding, number 19 on the mark. Breaks it over to Mazer. Kuzmowicz, number 1 for New York. Quick receiver.
It looks like that's a travel on the receiver, so it's a 10-yard penalty. Got him for changing directions a little there on the catch, I think.
Finds Terry on the dump. And Mazer doing work on number 64, Frederick Braz. Faust comes up with it, covered by Patrick Lindsay of Philadelphia. And Chow puts in the bid, doesn't get it. Kuzmowicz over on the line. And finds numero 6, Christopher Scores a lot Mazer. That was that's pretty good for New York. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
what else can you say about that one?
It's just it's efficiency with the disc. They had a couple of questionable little throws there, but I like the way that they finished that play. We can see he gets it down on the sideline. Pana thinks he has him covered, but Mazer just comes in, takes that little short toss, and nothing you can do about that if you're not fronting that guy hard.
Yeah, I don't know. Was that a half a yard throw, a quarter-yard throw? Did he just hand him the disc, a handshake? How did?
I don't know. We'll have to talk to the stats people about that later. See how they marked that up. It's going to bring down his yardage average.
I think so. That was a tiny little toss there. So New York, interestingly, and something they may come to regret, we don't know, is they've used up both of their timeouts so far this half. Philadelphia still with one timeout, but it's just the first quarter. What do you think? Do you think that has something to do with the heat?
It's hard to say. I mean, you use your timeouts when you feel you need them, and in this case, it was obviously a good choice by New York. They managed to turn that timeout into a point.
Yeah, and here you see again when we talk about a great pull. Goes out the back of the end zone. Katzenbach signals to Dave Bayer to come back and get it. Dave Bayer's going to check it in. Here we go. Gallen has his dump. I've been hesitant to look up to do some work downfield. They haven't really opened up their deep game here, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that I think we've been seeing from Philadelphia, quite a bit, is playing this underneath thing, sticking to it. And I think teams are starting to recognize that this is what they want to do. They want to move the disc around with their handlers and then hit that strike. But there's a guy that's never afraid to throw it. Big throw from Gallen.
Gallen hits Dave Bayer. Dave Bayer handler, usually not going deep, puts it up to Jonah Wish. Jonah Wish comes down with the D. The D throw undoes the D by number 3, Jonathan Cox. And Jonah Wish puts it over to 79, Matt Gallen for the score. It wasn't clean. It wasn't pretty, Nick.
What do you say? The one thing that they can take away from that I like is you have Gallen in there on O, willing to make that big, long throw that they need to stretch this defense out. And then we see this finish here, kind of a lazy little flip. Leaves it up for the D, and they get very fortunate that the tip disc comes back to him.
Wish has got to be saying thank you. He gets the assist on what should have been a turnover there. So Gallen comes in for the offensive point. You see a lot of switches on the line for Coach Maroon. He's really mixed up his offensive and defensive line so far this season.
Well, we had some speculation that one of the things that this weather might do is make Coach Maroon go a little deeper into his lineup, which there's been some people who believe that that's what this Philadelphia team needs to do a little bit. It needs to mix it up, needs to go a little deeper, play some of these guys who haven't seen as much of the field.
Whoever those people are, I agree that Coach Maroon probably could do with a bigger lineup. New York with some beautiful movement upfield. Avergan with a nice fake on Dave Bayer. Over to Mazer. Terry finds Avergan on that far sideline. Avergan looks, finds Faust. Faust is a quiet giant. He really just does it all for them. And he does even more. I don't even have to tell you who it is. Number 6, Chris, the amazing Mazer, pulls in his 3rd or 4th goal today. One
of the things you have to wonder here is did they talk about covering Mazer at all? it seems like with his stats going in, with what was happening, that you might consider putting a man on him. And as far as we've seen today, he's catching the disc in the middle of the field. He's catching it in the end zone.
That's a bold strategy, Nick. I don't know. The way Mazur does it, you might be better off putting a couple guys deep and hoping he doesn't notice. Mazur just seems to do whatever he wants out on this field. Saw the replay there. Mazur is just wide open on that throw from Faust.
So 7-2 now, 31 seconds left. I mean, I think we can agree that Philly absolutely needs to get this point going into the quarter to feel like they have a good shot of getting back in by halftime.
And what do you say? What do you've been around a lot of Ultimate teams, played on some good teams, some bad teams. When you see a line like that sort of has that body language that Philadelphia has, what does that tell you about what's going through their minds?
They look hurt. They look like they've played 5 games and lost them, and they look like they're losing this one. I'm not seeing the energy. I'm not seeing people jumping up and down on the line, ready to get at it. And we know that these are talented players. We know these are highly competitive players, and I would expect to see them, make a game of this. But right now, the whole mentality and feel out there just feels a little soft to me.
Mazur with a nice one-handed grab. This guy's on the sideline there. Gallen looking for some help. Finds Jonah Wish.
10 seconds remaining.
Gallen looks for Shull. Shull can't come down with it, and that is going to do it for the first quarter. So at the end of the first quarter, New York leading a stunned Philadelphia team by a score of 7-2. We're going to take a quick commercial break and be back with the second quarter after this.
First throw of the game, first point that we're out there. It's our game. Let's earn it.
All right, and welcome back to Colonial Stadium here. We're coming to you live on MLU Live with the Spinners hosting the New York Rumble. Rumble leading by a score of 7-2. It's maybe a surprising score, maybe not a surprising score. Depends who you ask, Nick.
Well, the Rumble, came in with the idea that they were going to jump on top of this game early. We heard it from Joe Anderson in the beginning of the game, and obviously they pulled that off, and they've done it by taking advantage of Philadelphia's errors. I can't even say that they've played phenomenal defense necessarily, New York, but what they've done very well is play good offense on the turn. And so they're picking up that disc after Philly drops it or throws it away and making them pay for each one of those mistakes. And that's the story of the game so far.
Yeah, Anderson saying if we can win the first 2 minutes of every quarter, we're gonna come out ahead. So
well,
looks like they won the first 2, and then the next 2, and then the last 6 minutes of the first quarter.
Yeah, I think you could honestly say they were pretty successful in that game plan. And again, it is a long game. We still have 3 quarters left to play. It's a matter of Philadelphia settling down and making a little bit of a shift, I think, in their game plan, making a little bit of a change. We saw them have some success with that deep shot from Gallen. I think if they can stretch this New York team, get them to, respect Philly's attack a little bit more, they'll have a little bit more room to work underneath when they need it.
Absolutely. Philadelphia does not use their deep game very well.
And it's not for a lack of receivers either, or cutters, or throwers for that matter. It seems to be more of a strategic worry about making a mistake is the way I always feel like when I look at Philadelphia. It's what I feel like I'm seeing.
Absolutely. So as we start the second quarter, I just want to take a minute to tell you about Innova. Innova is the official disc. The Innova Pulsar is the official disc of the MLU. It's been designed in cooperation with the players, the staff, and everybody here at the MLU. It's the perfect disc for the pro game, completely redesigned. The only disc trusted by Major League Ultimate for its players. Innova, well known for the disc golf gear, and also makes a fantastic Ultimate disc. I believe they're selling those in the MLU shop. You can get your favorite team logo or the official MLU game disc. Really a good disc, the Innova Pulsar. I'm happy with it every time I've used it.
Oh, definitely. I mean, even when I was a player, I wasn't much of a thrower. I have to admit, but I do like the feel of the disc, and we've just gotten fantastic reviews from all the players. They say it goes where you put it, and it rewards a good thrower as well, which is something you like to see.
Yeah, and this field is a little bit longer than the field most of these players are used to playing on in the past. So, getting that extra yardage on the disc can really help you out.
Speaking of extra yardage, here we are with the pull for the second quarter.
Yeah, Murphy puts it up. And Gallen down to receive a lofty pull. Hangs up in the end zone. Very low first throw over to Katzenbach. Over to Gallen. Gallen breaks to wide open Sean Murray. Sean Murray maybe not one of the guys you'd leave open on the spinners. And Dave Bayer helps him out. That's would have been an overthrow for Murray. Murray easy up line.
It looks like
to 38, Jonah Wish.
Jonah Wish with the score. 18-year-old Jonah Wish.
18-year-old Jonah Wish going to Pittsburgh next year. Just graduated high school, or about to graduate high school.
That's something right there. You're playing on a pro team, and then you're going and you're joining the national championship.
Yeah, you don't hear that a lot about the pro sports.
Yeah, it's a little bit backwards, isn't it?
Here you go. You're going to see Bayer put it up line. Murray's wide open. Wish is wide open. That's not what we're used to seeing from New York. It's like they didn't have anybody outside that side of the field there.
It looked like New York came down with a little bit of a junky kind of zone defense, probably to disrupt Philadelphia's pull play. Often these teams will develop pull plays where it'll be, one player to two player to three player to the score, and they'll try to pull that off right off of the pull when they have a little bit of space and separation. But by throwing that zone down there, you hope to shake that up and disrupt it. Unfortunately, cracked wide open by Gallen's upfield flick.
Yeah, I gotta wonder if you're New York, why would you change things up on defense there? You got a 5-point lead, been getting everything you want from Philadelphia, but it worked on that point. Mazer over to Bosco.
Looks like we have a marking foul there called. We're going to get a 10-yard penalty out of that.
Patrick Lindsay on the mark there for Philadelphia. Abraham with the disc. Nobody open. It's a wide open Heyman. Heyman's got a lot of time to come down with that one. Survey the field. Heyman out of the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Oh, and he just slips through the hands of number 41, Ben Faust.
Uncharacteristic drop from Faust there.
Absolutely. Faust
is as sure-handed as they come.
Finds Matheson. Matheson, number 41, a big player for them. Up to Paparone. Liang Chow. Chow, a very experienced player, was with these spinners last year on their championship run.
Bayer showing his ability to get up off the ground there, chase that one down.
He had a beautiful break throw under Avrgan's foot from Bayer. Lindsay with the butterfingers. Lindsay with the oil hands, the slippery mitts.
Not wearing the official friction gloves of Ultimate, and it's
maybe somebody should tell him about that. Tries to get it back on his layout, but boy, Philadelphia works it down on a reasonably pretty possession, gets the turnover, and Mazer going deep with it.
What
Looks
a...
like-
oh, my
Oh.
goodness.
Kuzmowicz looking for the foul from number 21, Mike Panna, but not getting the call. And Chow going up for it. Puts it out to Lindsay, chance to redeem himself. And just too far for Patrick Lindsay.
That was a fairly amazing throw by Mazer
Wow,
there.
if you're going to miss big, I guess. Mazer taps it back in. That last throw is just out of the hands of Kuzmowicz. You can see Mazer just puts up rockets as he throws it over to Gillies on the near side here. Lofty throw. Ooh!
That's a dangerous play
Faust gets
right
taken
there.
out by number 28, Dave Bayer. His legs just chopped out from underneath him.
We have the referees coming over to make sure everybody's okay. That's Ian McClellan acting as head referee today there, walking the disc up to its spot.
So Faust is going to get a 10-yard penalty out of that. He does appear to be okay, thankfully.
I was a little concerned that the clumsiness of that foul would result in a flagrant foul. I wouldn't have been surprised to see a ban come out there just to make Bayer think twice before making that type of layout. It was a pretty
Absolutely.
dangerous play.
Yeah, you cut the guy's legs out from under him. That's not good no matter how you look at it. Over to Heyman. Heyman looking, finds Mazer, surveys, and it's in to Bosco. Number 26, Andrew Bosco on the reception from number 6. Don't even have to say it. You know him already. You know him. You love him. Christopher Mazer.
Mazer, as we said before, you can catch your goals, you can throw your goals. What do you need? That's what he says. He walks up and he says, "What do you need me to do this play?" And then
Sure,
he does it.
he can tell a good story. He's probably good with a joke. Mazer is really your 5-tool player.
That was a
for
nice
these
little
guys.
cut by him right there, and then that quick little throw inside. And it's really that downfield cut that was the thing, right? Not the throw to the end zone. That was a short little flip throw, but that little cut where you're just not sure if he's going in or if he's coming back out.
Yeah, he throws. Yes, you can say he threw the goal with his legs there. He got himself open and did work. And halfway through the season here, week 7, a lot of talk about league MVPs. Mazer, a name that comes up a lot.
He's definitely in the running for that. It's the amount of effect that he has on his team too. If you take him out of the lineup, what does that do to New York's team? And I think the effect would be significant.
Couldn't agree with you more. Mazer just the driving motor of this New York Rumble team. Gallen on the O-line here. Over to Hiranet. Hiranet has not been playing a lot this game. Haven't seen him behind the disc a lot. Wondering if Coach Maroon is trying to save his players, save his some of his best players for later in the game. Working a little give and go action in the backfield between Katzenbach with the disc now. Over to Dave Bayer. Philadelphia runs this play a lot. Katzenbach falls over. Over to Gallen.
Yeah, we see a lot of this little weave kind of three-handler mix go on with them. And then when they do get it downfield,
Sean Murray. Oh! Wish can't come up with it. Just out of the reach of Jonah Wish. Murray not usually a thrower, good thrower, but just a little too far for Wish there.
yeah, it feels like Philadelphia in this quarter has had some good play for about 80-90% of the way down the field, and then that's where it's starting to break down for them.
That really speaks to Philadelphia's game as a whole. A lot of their games, they're close losses. They've been in it for 3 quarters. Just can't close it out, as you see Joe Anderson with the disc on the far sideline. Finds 24, Van Lang. Murphy hits up to Anderson. It's far, and Cox, no.
For a second, I thought that was going to hang up for him, as we've seen those discs do so often this season.
You see, the disc is just faster than the player on that one.
So 8-3 still. Philadelphia Spinners looking to climb their way back into this thing.
I got to wonder about Coach Maroon subbing here. If he had played Hiranet rather. I know he's trying to save him for later in the game, but I don't know, your best player, one of your best players at least, as he puts it up. for a diving Shull, and Shull just can't grab it. Just a little too far.
Yeah, a little bit, I don't mind necessarily seeing that from Philadelphia, playing a little field position. They've been turning it over in their own end. Sort of better to miss there.
Cox puts off a high release, lofty over the top backhand, and not the best throw.
Nice position there, too, from Bear to make sure that sort of sloppy throw didn't pay dividends for New York.
Gallen puts it up to 38. Wish. Katzenbach there. Katzenbach straddles the goal line, and he's in. Big crowd there. Katzenbach didn't look fazed by it at all.
He never is he? That's sort of where he's in his element. Disc up in the air, crowd of people around him. It's the basketball player in him, I think. Of course, played basketball at University of Pennsylvania. And here he is.
You see the three younger, less seasoned veterans jump a little early, and Katzenbach just knows right where to be. So you got a little bit of a salute from Murphy there on the reception. Guess Murphy showing some due respect. And probably no sarcasm in that salute.
Now, it's one of those plays where you go up early with everybody else, and when you land and look behind you and someone's holding the disc, you just what are you going to say?
Tip of the hat.
Tip of the hat.
My bad. So Philly's closed the gap a little bit. They got, I believe, one break back. They were down 7-2. Now they're up, or now they're still down, but they're up another break, 8-4 New York. And the wind picking up a little bit here, Nick, coming in from looks like from the spinner sideline towards New York here, and Razor just gets caught up. Looks like that disc just did not come out of his hand cleanly. But you're playing the Philadelphia Spinners, and that doesn't matter. You're going to get a second chance.
Wow, that is just the mental errors out here today are amazing to me. These are, talented players. They've been playing together all season. They certainly know each other and the way that they play well enough. It's just hard to believe that kind of throw goes up at all.
Not for lack of physical skill, that's for sure. And Philadelphia luckily does get another opportunity. Panna gets a disc in the red zone. Chow pivots around, goes for the up line. With Dan Furfari there on the reception.
It's the first we've seen of Furfari, I think, so far. I think he's one of those players we're talking about, a little bit deeper into the bench.
Yeah,
a strong player, athletic, great cutter.
Got to approve of that decision from Coach Maroon. And you can see when he does, Coach Maroon opens up his lines. It looks like he got Matheson, some of his other players, Paparone, some of the guys you're not seeing on your starting O or your starting D line. You're going to see Furfari lets it know why he should be on the field. And Philadelphia got their break back. So, I don't know. Are we seeing some fight here, Nick? Or a little early
I
to
think
say
it's
that?
Maybe a little early to say, but at least we're seeing the game close down a little bit, getting a little bit more interesting for us up here in the booth and for the fans over there in the stands. Braving this heat and praying for that breeze to pick up just a little bit more.
Yeah, see what the fans can do for the hometown boys here. Break, we call it. Philadelphia did just get the break. That is when you start on defense like they're doing now, and then you end up getting the score. Just like in tennis, if you're not serving and you score the point, that is a break for you.
And we saw a lot of those from New York in the first quarter. You maybe will remember that.
Yep, Faust puts up a nice, just smooth, juicy throw to number 44 rather, Robbie Gillies. Faust just a slick, easy, didn't even look like he was trying on that throw.
That's what always amazes me about these players.
Faust just, yep, there I am, and there's the disc, and it's going to go out of my hand to my receiver, 44, Robbie Gillies on that one. So no break on that one for Philadelphia. Put a little bit of a stop on the momentum for New York.
Yeah, it's amazing how these great throwers out there can make those throws look so easy. Throws that are with a little bit of breeze out here, with those little flips out to the flat to get the weight on those correctly, to not let them carry out, to let them fall off to the side. It's a skill set that these guys put a lot of practice into.
Absolutely, and Faust, one of the bigger players on the field for both teams. He can put a charge in one if he needs to. So New York is set to pull. Looks like Ari Weitzman with the pull. Short pull. You can see the wind picking up here. Weitzman, the first time we're saying that name.
Just cleared half field on that one there.
Yeah. So the wind is definitely becoming a factor now. Shaw to Bayer. Bayer centers it upfield to Hirnet, to Wish. Glazer. Nice little overhanded scooper to Art Shaw. And Sean Murray with the reception.
Now that's the kind of disc movement that, you know, Philadelphia was probably looking for early in the game. And again, it doesn't come from a sudden finding of throws or a finding of cuts. It just comes from consistency. Being able to complete those throws, no drops, no throwaways, march down the field.
So here you're going to see it again. Katzenbach with a nice overhead throw really opens up the field for them. And Shaw just hits the open receiver 1, 2, 3. Does not get any easier than that. So here's my question, Nick. On that last point, Philadelphia put in what looked to be their starting offensive line. You got Hirnet, you got Shaw, you got Murray, you got Katzenbach. You got your best players on the line, and they scored. The problem is, when those players are out, they can't play them every point. That's why Philadelphia seems to be suffering. Am I right, or what am I not? What am I seeing?
You
here?
may be right. I feel like we did see that line though in the beginning of the game struggle a little bit, and perhaps that was just trying to get up and out of the gate out here. But I wonder if that's part of the reason that Coach Maroon moved away from them initially.
Got to try it out. Gallon with a big pull here. Couldn't tell it is still windy, but it is the way Gallon throws. Hazer over to Terry. Terry to Faust. Faust back to Terry. Gilly's going deep. Oh, and a hammer. Gilly's going up for it. It's a second reception. Yes, and he comes down with it. Gilly surveys the field. Mazer with the disc now. And a beautiful overhand throw to Kuzmowicz.
Chris Mazer. He has a whole bag full of throws and just pulled one out there. Yeah. Beautiful.
Correction, that looked like number 33, Jake Herman, on the reception. You're going to see it again. Mazer puts a nice little scoober, we call that, when you just flick it over the guy's head, across your body. The Chris Mazer show continues here. I'm going to take this opportunity to tell you about Five Ultimate. Five Ultimate is the official apparel provider of the Major League Ultimate. They're a true lovers of the game and have built their company with a vision for growing the sport and outfitting those who play it, as in our fantastic players out here in the Major League Ultimate circuit. Visit them at 5ultimate.com or follow them on Twitter at twitter.com/5ultimate. New York with a short pull, about halfway down the field again, just over half court.
That really illustrates how far Gallant can throw it. He stepped up and I believe threw it about 70 yards down the field, and the New York guys have had trouble matching that so far. Unfortunately, big pulls don't win games. So.
Yeah, New York's definitely taken advantage of the big pulls when they gotten them, but you see Glazer looking to Vinny going deep. He's open, but Shull puts it in the holster. Swings it around to Hirnet. Out to Glazer. Glazer looks upfield to Hirnet. Now you're seeing some Philadelphia offense. Some quick give and go movements. Just hit the open guy. Shull wide open. Nobody on him. And a turfsicle.
Yeah, Art Shull
that hurts.
Just threw that one right into the ground. Again, like we said, good disc movement, good cutting, and then suddenly downfield stagnates. There's no cuts. He turns to take a dump and throws it into the ground.
And that's what you've been saying. Philadelphia gets 90% of the way there. And they get it back. They're being given their turnovers here. Certainly not earning the turns. Katzenbach on the sideline. Up to 81, Sean Murray. Philadelphia does still have their timeout. But Murray's going to go to Deviney and pulls it down in front of a diving full extension Colin Van Lang. Deviney with his, I believe, first goal of the night. with 46 seconds remaining. Philadelphia's pulling back. Slowly but surely, 10-7, New York lead.
Yeah, Davini managed to hang on to that one. He's had a little bit of trouble with it, but we see here that Sean Murray makes a nice little kind of high-release backhand throw.
Space and watch
Over
the
the
bid from
top.
Van Lang here. That's a beautiful piece of work, just a little too far for Van Lang. And I think Davini is right there. If you don't want to celebrate too much on that one, you're still down by 3. So
Just take your goal, walk off, get ready to get out back out there and try to get another one.
absolutely. It's a good crowd on hand here tonight at Colonial Stadium here in Plymouth Meeting, Pennsylvania. The Spinners hosting the New York Rumble. Matt Gallen of the Spinners, number 79. Big pull out of bounds. Pins him on the sideline here. Now, do you think that's an intentional choice?
That was definitely an intentional throw. You could see he turned the disc over a little sideways when he made it, hoping for a roller. I'm not sure that he wanted it out at the 30, but certainly a play set up here to pin them on the sideline a little bit.
A little surprising I didn't see a double team on that mark. Usually if you're going to get a roller pull, the defense will set up a double team. Heyman up to Kuzmowicz. Kuzmowicz to Faust, to Heyman, to Mazer. Bosco, just quick ticky-tack movement from New York here. Faust to Heyman. See what Heyman can do with it. Up to Bosco.
10 seconds.
Bosco sees Kuzmowicz streaking for the cone, but doesn't hit him. Oh! Oh, and Mazer just pulls in. Oh, a thank you gift, really, from Frederick Braz there on the D.
This is the problem with Mazer. Even when you get a D on him, you can't keep him from scoring.
Yeah, even when he is done, you're going to see number 64 there in blue. Braz with you can't play better defense than that. You just can't play better defense than that. He got the D, a layout, put himself between the disc and his man. That's amazing. That's just what it is. That's the only way to describe it. It's the thing that only Chris Mazer seems to be able to do.
Just finding a way,
making the amazing seam routine. So New York here to pull it to Philadelphia. Score of 11-7 with 2 seconds left on the clock. Philadelphia's got their tall line in. Most of these guys are, I'd say, over 6'2", 6'3", maybe.
The shorter pole helping him a little here. And
there we go. Good call from Philadelphia. Philadelphia is going to call their timeout, looks like. Last timeout. Give themselves a shot at a Hail Mary here.
Something that just there. Mark up on that play. They came down in a double team. And this is something that, we haven't seen a lot from teams in these last second situations, but that makes a lot of sense. A lot of teams are inclined to send a lot of defensive players down to the end zone to mark up on that O-line and catch that Hail Mary. But if you can disrupt the throw itself, this may never even get to the end zone and might not cause you that problem. So I really like that double team there with 2 seconds left.
Yeah, a little bit different than what we're used to seeing, I suppose. I guess if your goal is to prevent the disc from going someplace, you want to put your guys around the disc, and if the thrower's got it, you see a good shot of the fans having a good time out here in the heat. They are brave in the heat, but these are Philly fans. They're tough. They're going to hang with it.
Yeah, now I wouldn't be surprised if when New York comes out of this timeout, they don't necessarily go to that double team again. 2 seconds is, of course, enough time to get probably a throw off and then a huck. So whether or not you want to leave that man free is, it's all about not giving up the free throw, I think, in this situation.
Absolutely. Philadelphia looks like they're still going to be going with their tall line, their bigger throwers and their bigger receivers, and Matt Gallen, who's one of the top throwers in the league. So you got your big guys there. Big guys, obviously, to cherry pick the disc, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that you see in this game that you wouldn't have seen in Ultimate that didn't use a clock, which is what a lot of Club Ultimate, of course, doesn't use a clock. Mm-hmm. But you see these specialty players who are who are in there for these types of situations and able to make those big plays.
So Gallon getting ready. Looks like he's telling Dave Stoddard there for New York. Ooh, what he's going to do. And wow, that's going to leave a mark. Andrew Wilkes, number 4 for New York, there on the block. I wouldn't want to be on the other side of a Gallon Huck from that distance, at least.
No, that'll. We've seen how far he can throw it. That'll definitely leave a mark. But we're gonna go take a little break right now, and we'll be back with more in just a couple minutes with halftime.
And welcome back to Colonial Stadium. Halftime here. Philadelphia Spinners hosting the New York Rumble. Score is 11-7 in New York's favor. And we're going to throw it down to the field now to Alex Witchin. She's there with Mike Panna for the Philadelphia Spinners.
They've been kind of running away with it a little bit. Defensively, what are you guys looking to do?
I think we're just looking to play within ourselves. Step up the intensity on the marks, on the downfield defense, just be closer to our men. And double team on floaty discs, definitely. We got to come down with everything we can.
What do you think Coach Maroon's going to say to you guys in the locker room?
I think he's going to say things just like that, and just tell us not to get too worried. Don't freak out. Play how we know how to play. Catch the disc, throw the disc, simple stuff.
And lastly, you guys have been kind of getting to the end of the regular season. How have you been enjoying playing for the MLU this year?
I love it. It's unreal. It's unlike any kind of Ultimate I've ever played. Even different than last year. It's more intense this year. I'm having a blast.
Awesome. Thanks, Michael. Back to you, Matt.
All right. Thanks, Alex. So you hear from Mike Panna there. Going to try and stay tighter on defense. So let's talk about the first half, Nick. New York, like you said in the keys to the game, just got to come out hard, and they sure seem to do that.
Yeah, I mean, they came in with a game plan, and they understood that this is a Philly team that's kind of on the ropes, that has been beaten a lot recently, and the thing with a team like that is if you can get up on them early, you can attack early, you can put them in that position that they've sort of become accustomed to, which is a losing position. And that was their goal, and I think they did a pretty nice job of that. It's a strong New York side, and they're sort of just getting their stride in the right time of the season, and we're seeing that out there today.
Absolutely. I think they were leading 7-2 at the first quarter there, so big 5-point lead for New York. Philadelphia did claw their way back a little bit, though. We can't be totally down on Philadelphia here.
No, we can't. I mean, we saw them make their way back into the game a little bit in that second quarter. They cleaned up their game a little, I would say, but it's going to take more than that at this point to get all the way back in this game. It's not enough just to play your game anymore. Now you have to take it to New York. You have to take the disc away from them, and you have to score when you get it.
Absolutely. And Philadelphia here playing with their playoff hopes on the line, which you will get to talk about in just a few minutes. So we're gonna cut it now. Go to another commercial break, and we will be back with more analysis of the first half in just a second.
First throw of the game, first point that we're out there. It's our game. Let's earn it.
And welcome back to Colonial Stadium here in Plymouth Meeting, Pennsylvania. I'm here with Nick Darling. I'm Matt Lowenthal, and we're going to take you through the some plays of the week from Week 6 here in the MLU.
Yeah, these we do these every week. We have an offensive play of the week, a defensive play of the week, a catch of the week, and it's a great opportunity to recognize some of the big plays around the league and recognize these players for the amazing work that they're doing.
Tell us what we're going to see here.
So we're going to start here with the Waveborn Offensive Play of the Week. Waveborn, of course, is our sunglass sponsor, and this is going to the plays of the week. Apparently, actually from last week, the week before, but we'll go forward with those. We already see Malachek making a deep throw to Danny Clark.
They're still great plays.
A fantastic play. So Danny goes
get
up,
better plays than this.
and a beautiful catch by Danny Clark over the top. Danny, a fantastic player up there in Boston, a veteran player,
does
fast.
Work for them, absolutely.
I mean, unbelievable runner, can just cover so much ground. And as we see, a dangerous weapon on the other end of the disc. And Malachek, of course, has every single throw that you could possibly need out there. So, wow, big catch by Danny. Holding his player off, going up over him, pulling it down.
Danny Clark, a big reason why they're still in first place. Still in first place, always were in first place, and have locked down first place. So,
yeah, I think they're in first place until the playoffs at this point. Still undefeated, 7-0, getting some much needed water there, which we can certainly appreciate this week. The defensive play of the week from Week 5 is a great play by Michael Panna. We saw one of these earlier today, and this one I think is a big Callahan catches the disc in the end zone on a layout. Huge, important point for Philadelphia at that time. Put them back in the game against Boston, gave them a chance to beat the undefeated Boston Whitecaps. They were not able to take advantage of that, obviously.
Yeah, Spinners could use some of that today.
Exactly. And then our Friction Gloves catch of the week. The winner here gets a nice pair of specially designed Friction Gloves to mark the occasion. This goes to Lucas Murphy. Here we have a nice little give and go scenario here, and throws it up the line to Murphy, who chases it down, and what a catch. It's just a beautiful catch. And of course that made number 8 on ESPN's top 10.
Peels that one off the ground. That's top 10 worthy if I've ever seen that.
Well deserved. Yeah.
Look at how far that is.
Chase that down, and beautiful layout for him. Makes
Call
a nice
that a carpet
catch.
because it is already on the ground. Am I right?
I also love how he lays down a little bit there and just absorbs it. Just takes it all in for a moment.
He knows,
Shakes off
he
the
knows
turf
he's on
burn.
camera there. Lucas Murphy can get it done.
No question about it.
All right, so we're going to take another quick break here, and we'll be back with more of the MLU in just a minute. And we're back. I'm Matt Lowenthal here with Nick Darling. Nick, we got ourselves in the middle of a playoff hunt here. Why don't you tell us about the standings, where we're at so far?
Sure. So we're going to look first at the Eastern Conference standings. You know, of course, we have the Boston Whitecaps on top of this thing, 7-0, undefeated, just rolling right now, and playing, I think, better and better each week when we see them.
Seems to be they're the only team that's still undefeated in the whole league, if I'm correct.
Yeah, and they had some close games early on, but it seems like each successive week they're winning more decisively. So they've locked up first place, and they'll be at the top of the standings going into the playoffs. And playoffs, of course, are the top 2 teams in each division, which play for the right to go to the MLU Championship. Second, the New York Rumble, playing here today, looking to extend their championship chances by beating the Philadelphia Spinners. DC Current coming in third. They're going to be playing a game tomorrow, and then, of course, the Spinners at the bottom of the table right now. But, you know, we're seeing bottom of the table is all kind of really pretty even.
It's close, yeah. If you just look at it, you see Boston there with all the wins, and everybody else has got to split a couple wins between them. Looks like New York is 2-4. DC is also 2-4. New York is getting second place based on point differential, so they have scored more points, or have a better plus-minus ratio, have scored more, and had fewer points scored against them than the DC Current.
So and so what we're seeing, I think, most significantly here for today is that the Philadelphia Spinners, if they lose this game, they're out. New York can lose this game and still have some scenarios where they can make it in, but they really need a win here and a win next week against DC to assure their path to the championship. So there's a lot of permutations, a lot of things. Keep an eye on us on our site at mlultimate.com. We'll have ongoing analysis of the playoff picture as the week progresses, and we'll be able to give you a good idea what to look for next week.
That's exciting.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't wait.
Let's go over to the Western Conference, and we take a look at the West. Again, we have the Seattle Rainmakers have tied up their playoff position. They will definitely be in the playoffs, and that's based on their record combined with the head-to-head victories that they've had against these other teams. San Francisco has not yet tied up and still has an opportunity there, but now with Portland losing today, takes them to 1-6, and they're going to head down and play San Francisco the following day, and if they lose there, then San Francisco is pretty much in as well. So we're looking at a pretty high likelihood of a Seattle-San Francisco playoff matchup out there, but there are some outlier possibilities that could take it in another direction.
Sure, that is it for the Stags, but the Nighthawks, the Nighthawks just have been a team that hasn't really played to their potential, I think. They sort of like the Spinners in that they play half of a game, a good half, good 3 quarters, and just can't close it out. So it's a little late to put the pedal on the metal there, but they could cause some damage, be a spoiler perhaps.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, Vancouver is a very, very talented team. They're, of course, on a bye this weekend, so we won't get to see any results out of them today. But we'll be playing next week, and we'll take a look at next week's games right now to go through what you should be looking for going forward. Next Saturday, we have just 2 games next week in the MLU. We'll be seeing San Francisco play at Vancouver, and then we'll also be seeing DC play at New York. And you can tune in for those games. We'll be updating the MLU live status on those games throughout the week. As some of you may know, we had some connectivity issues up in Vancouver last time around, and we may still be struggling with that this week. But we'll definitely be bringing you that DC game at New York. In the Eagles Nest Stadium on top of the school there.
Yeah, that's quite a stadium.
And, regardless of the results here today, what's great about that game is that it's going to be a very, very important game for both those teams.
Yeah, regardless, even if New York does lose today, they're still going to be in the playoffs at that point, right? So that's still going to be a grind between them and the DC Current.
Exactly. As we said before, it's a pretty complicated situation for that second spot on the East Coast, and DC, New York, Philadelphia, all vying for it. And we'll see if that goes down to just DC and New York after this second half here.
So the Spinners are out warming up on the field. Rumble getting ready to do battle in the second half here. And Philadelphia is going to need some help with their playoff hopes barely alive. They need this. There's no other way to say it. This has to be the best 2 quarters, the best half of Ultimate that they have played in months, in a month and a half at least.
Yeah, I mean, winning today doesn't assure them a playoff bid, but losing today assures them that they're out. So they need to put together a half that we haven't seen out of them in a while. if they want to be in this thing and they want to stay in it. And for New York, it's just coming out and doing what they've been doing. Make Philly make those mistakes, keep that pressure on, and when they do, score. And they've done that successfully so far today. And they're going to keep pushing in the second half. But who knows? With these conditions today, a little bit of heat, the fatigue starts to set in. We may see a little bit of different dynamic out there in the second half.
I was going to say, first half, maybe you can just play it off, play through the heat. But maybe you think exhaustion is going to come into account a little bit here?
I mean, it is for those who don't play the game or for those who don't play it at this level, it is an incredible amount of running. And, some of these players, particularly on the New York side, we definitely see some players that are playing a lot of points. And it's certainly going to tell, and it's going to show how hard they've worked coming into this game and also how well they've taken care of themselves in the days leading up to this game. I think we're going to see some signs of that as we get into this second half, and we'll see if it's going to be a factor. But, of course, all these players put in a lot of work and a lot of effort. So
sure, they're all playing at the highest level they can. It's just a matter of who can get to the highest level, if I might get poetic for a second. So here we go, set to begin the third quarter here at Colonial Stadium. Spinners down 7-11, and Mike Panna with the pull to New York. Centers up to Mazur. Mazur's got quite an impressive stat line from the first half. Heyman maybe trying to draw the foul there, but doesn't get the call.
Heyman, a great player. I mean, we've heard his name a lot this game, but haven't talked much about him.
Ooh, just a little far for Mazur.
Got his hand on that. I'm rather surprised he didn't come up with it even with that overthrow. But Philly with an opportunity now.
See a double team there. And that just... I'm not quite sure about that defense there. Leaving Paparone, not one of their star players, but you leave a horse that open in the end zone, he's going to catch the disc.
One of the toughest things, really, in Ultimate is that transition from O to D. It's a game where that happens very quickly, and you have to be able to rapidly adjust and catch up. And it looked like New York just got caught in a position where they couldn't quite catch up on that play. They couldn't get back and take care of the players that they had lost during that transition.
I just want to clarify, I was not calling Matt Paparone a horse. Very good, very attractive, well-built individual, but he was wide open, and I really didn't know how else to say that at that point.
Yeah, well, because horses are always wide open.
I think so.
Suggesting.
I'm thinking sort of a pastoral theme.
Bucolic greenery all around him, grazing, if you will, in the end zone.
We'll just move on from that one.
Yeah, let's
here.
leave it alone for now.
Philadelphia, you'll see, just getting right back into it. Pulls to New York here. Philadelphia with that quick break there, so that's got to be something they're happy about.
Ooh. And New York almost gave him one back there.
It's another D, yeah. Gillies up to Faust. Faust finds Heyman. Heyman just a fantastic competitor. And puts a nice flick up to Mazur, and Mazur gets it right in front of a diving Braz. Heyman with a beautiful throw there.
Yeah, I mean, that's really what Heyman brings in a lot of ways. I mean, he's a very good cutter, but once he gets that disc in his hands, he can work some magic with it. And this is just a perfectly weighted throw out to the flat for a streaking Mazur. And again, we see Mazur, look at him set that cut up, and he just gets in behind, and there's just not much you can do. You can take a dive at it, but you're not getting to it at that point.
Heyman is a fantastic mid. Mid we call, he can usually makes an in cut, one of the first players to get the disc off the pole, and then he's not afraid to send it deep. So Heyman's really a versatile player. Won the college MVP award, I believe, in 2007. 2 college championships under his belt. So can't really find a better player to have on your team than Dan Heyman for New York.
Really, really top notch. And yeah, as you said, as a good mid, he throws well on the run, can catch the disc and transition to the throwing motion very quickly. Dangerous player.
Yeah, here you see Philadelphia's starting offensive line here. These are the big guys for Philly. So Philly, Coach Maroon, I guess, sees this as a point that they absolutely need. He's going to spend some legs on this point. Murray gets it on the far sideline. It's Glazer coming underneath. Glazer open. Finds Dave Bayer, who breaks the ankles of John Cox. And It's just too far. It's just too close to the Rumble defender. Pulls it down.
Yeah,
New York with a chance here.
I think that their flow is breaking down in the end. Oh, and there's a big throw up. Like Joe Anderson makes the throw.
Oh, and just a pile of defenders there.
Yeah, in the end, that just hung up too long. Gave Philly plenty of time to get underneath it. And they get a restart from back in their own end.
You know, that's been something New York hasn't been afraid to do this game, is go deep. Philadelphia, very tentative with their deep shots, and you got to think that that hasn't helped them. Katzenbach swings it over to Glazer. Back to Hieronet. Katzenbach puts it up. That's something you don't see every day, and Murray sizes it up. Oh!
Looking for a foul call on
And
that,
just
and not going to get it.
Can't get it right through his hands.
I'm a little surprised at the non-call there. It did look like he got hit in the back on that catch. Perhaps I'm just making excuses for a normally very sure-handed Sean Murray. But
I agree. That was close. You see the replay there. There was definitely some contact from Stoddard there on the mark. But New York is going to get their chance again. Wilkes puts up a big throw. And D by Trey Katzenbach, the Spinners captain.
That's 2 throws in a row for New York that have underestimated that breeze that's coming from our left to right. And let that disc get hung up.
Sort of a half-hearted bid from Stoddard there. It didn't look like he thought he was going to get it.
Yeah, flat-footed Katzenbach. It looked like there was an opportunity to get a D there.
Looked like Jesse Bronner on the defense there, getting the foul on Hieronet.
Oh, we have another whistle here.
Another stoppage of play. Bronner's going to move him up even further.
Pretty aggressive mark there.
But Hieronet, he's one of your better throwers. You want to put some pressure on him. And Hieronet goes over the top to a diving, rolling, spinning Sean Murray, who comes down with the grab. Well, Philadelphia is not dead, Nick.
They are not dead. They're struggling to get back on their feet here, and one of the best ways to do that is keep putting the discs into Sean Murray's hands, I would say.
Sean Murray, remember that fantastic grab from week 3? Got him up on number 3 on SportsCenter. You're going to see Hieronet again, puts a beautiful scoober. And Sean Murray just eyes on a disc, see it all the way in. Kids, if you play Ultimate, watch Sean Murray. He's gonna get it done for you.
Yeah, just a great downfield cutter. Fantastic on the mark as well, which is something that doesn't get talked about much about Sean Murray. But he has a great mark and is kind of known for kick blocks off, and uses both his feet and his hands when he's on the mark. Something to keep an eye on as we move forward in this game. You might get to see some of that mark in action.
Sean Murray with the Week 3 Friction Gloves catch of the game. Just want to take a second to tell you about Friction Gloves. They're the official glove provider of the MLU. These all-weather gloves are specifically designed for Ultimate players and are combine a tackiness of a receiver glove with the grip that you need to make perfect passes every single time. So look for the Friction Glove catch of the week. You'll see more plays like Sean's every week here on an MLU Live. And you can pick up your own pair of Friction Gloves at frictiongloves.com or at the MLU shop at shop.mlultimate.com. Here you see Mazur picks up the pull from out of bounds, centers it here. Nice over-the-top throw. Oh!
Faust with
Hannah
the
backpacks. Looks like a number 8 Kevin Terry. Just wears him like a shirt. And 6 Mazur going with the hammer. Gallon there on the coverage. Oh!
Oh my goodness!
And Robbie Gillies with a huge sky over Matt Gallon of the Spinners.
That is a difficult catch to make in the best of situations, but with a Gallon backing into you as you do it, that is incredible. What a catch there!
Boy, is Mazur fearless or what? That's not maybe the first throw, the second throw, the third throw you look for, and Mazur just puts it up.
I think here's the thing about knowing your target. He's picking out his big tall man down there, and his big tall man rewards him for the choice.
My gosh. Mazur, he just feels invincible right now. He just can't do any wrong. He's got his team up by 4. They've had a little bit of a comeback from Philadelphia, but you wouldn't notice looking at the way Mazur plays. The man is incredible.
Yeah, I mean, New York had to know that Philly isn't, even as with all the troubles they've been having, they're not going to take this thing lying down. So they knew they were going to have to weather some of this, and it seems like they're doing that job pretty well. Philly started to come back a little maybe after the half, looked a little bit better, but New York showing no signs of weakening, no signs of cracking.
Philly's got their main offensive line out there, and Katzenbach with the deep put to Shull, and it's far, and it's a little too far, and is he going to get it? No. Just out the back of the end zone. Katzenbach underestimating the wind there.
Again, I can't say I'm unhappy to see that from the Philadelphia Spinners. I feel like that's something that we need to see more of. You don't often see Katzenbach make a deep throw. He tends to be more of a underneath, moving the disc kind of handler when he's playing that role, but just couldn't keep a leash on that one.
You're right though. Philadelphia does need to open up their deep game. So Katzenbach, team captain, knows that. You see Jonathan Cox gets the upfield reception. Breaks around to, looks like Weitzman there. Weitzman out of Pittsburgh. University of Pittsburgh. Murphy back to Stoddard. Stoddard surveys the grounds. Weitzman again. Weitzman with some bright orange cleats. Good looking shoes. Weitzman breaks around to smash Anderson.
Also with some good-looking shoes.
And Littauer has even got some, slightly less loud, but also good-looking shoes. And we're looking at a timeout here. Looks like a New York timeout. So we're going to take a quick commercial break here, and we'll be back with more of the third quarter here on MLU Live. And welcome back. Coming out of the timeout here with New York leading Philadelphia by a score of 13-9. Wanted to take this opportunity to tell you about the MLU on social media. They are all over the place on social media: Facebook, Twitter, whatever the new forum is.
Whatever the kids are using.
Whatever the kids, whatever is hip and hop these days. The MLU is there for the social media. You can follow us on updates around the league on your favorite teams. Stay in the loop about the playoff hunt, the MVP race, just fantastic content every day on the MLU social media pages. So be sure to check those out.
It looks like we had perhaps a little delay of game by an over-enthusiastic production crew here at the Spinners game, but they have a lot of fun out here, don't they?
Yeah, what's the penalty for that if you're
if your entertainment
the
team
timeout? Yeah, the
installs?
Timeout entertainment delay.
I don't know if we have that built into the rules, but it's a good timeout at these Philadelphia Spinners games and all the MLU games, and you can get tickets to come to any of these games at mlultimate.com/tickets.
Absolutely.
Oh!
Mazur with a nice throw to Heyman, and then Heyman with a cheeky inside-out flick to Kuzmowicz with a beautiful streaking cut to the cone.
Kuzmowicz had to reach behind himself a little bit for that, but shorthanded makes a great catch, and some would argue an even better spike.
The boy can spike, that's for sure. Here you're going to see a replay of it. Heyman gets this nice throw, and that's the quick release that we're talking about from Heyman. Just catch, turn, and release. Like, there's your professional shortstop fielding a grounder and throwing the double play. Heyman is just boom, boom, boom.
It looks like he does it all in one motion. It's a beautiful thing to watch.
So that's a good point for New York there. It gives them a little bit more of a buffer. Good use of the timeout. You call the timeout, you want to get the score, you put in your offensive guys.
Yeah, but I have to say the use of the timeout by New York so far, if we were going to take this in looking at it from a strategic sort of coaching standpoint, New York has been much more successful using their timeouts to their own advantage. Philadelphia has struggled with that so far. The two that they burned in the first half, neither of those ended up in points. So it's an important point. Like, all these little things are what adds up to winning big games. And right now, those little things are falling in New York's favor.
Yeah, Philadelphia had their streak, but we'll see if they can get it back.
Gallon back on the field on the O-line. Keeping that big throw, big weapon out there.
Katzenbach standing perfectly still, waiting for that opportunity. Hits here and that.
Yeah, not seeing a lot of movement from Katzenbach when the mark's on. He's normally from a thrower. Oh, and there's a tough turnover from him right there. And New York quick to take advantage of it.
Quick strike.
Yeah, normally from a handler you'll see a lot of fakes, a lot of movement. Keep the guy who's marking you off balance, keep him moving, and that way when those cuts do open up and become available, you can hit them. Katzenbach in that situation looked a little bit flat-footed, and then made just an off throw out to the flat, and New York quick to take advantage of it.
Kevin Terry and Jonathan Cox there on the hookup. Katzenbach, he's not going to move around a lot with the disc. He usually just sees what he wants and goes ahead and takes it, but he's facing a fired-up New York team that knows that they can put the nail in the coffin for Philadelphia's season here.
I mean, this is a New York team that struggled in the very beginning of the season a little bit, and didn't get their first win until they came down here to Philadelphia. And with all that said, though, they were confident that they could be a playoff team, and they're looking more and more like it to me as I see them out here.
Yeah, you gotta hand it to Coach Q and the rest of the coaching staff for New York. They've got these guys playing well, playing with heart. That's one thing you expect from anything that comes out of New York City, is a lot of heart and a lot of grit. So a good representative of their city, to be sure.
Definitely.
Trigub back in the game now with the disc. Trigub taking a couple points off for Coach Maroon. And Pana going deep. Puts out a lofty flick up to Shull. Oh, and Shull just can't come down with it.
And that is the story of Philly's day. Even on the ones that, are those sort of 50-50 feeling ones, they're just not coming up with them. And you need those big catches.
Oh, and
Hieranet
helps himself. And he's going to get the bookends. Yes. Hieranet's going to fire up his team with a spike there. The captain, number 7. You make a mistake, I got your back. Nick Hieranet, he's there for you.
What a defensive effort from Hieranet. How does he get in there to get this disc away? It is comes up from behind, slips his hand in between. Oh my goodness. Beautiful defensive play there. And then rewarded with the bookends on the play, as you said. You get the D, you get the goal.
Hieranet, he's not the tallest guy, not the biggest guy. Might be one of the faster guys. I wouldn't say that, but he just plays with heart. And speaking to Coach Maroon a couple games back, he said, however Nick plays, that's how the team is going to play. So if Hiernet's having a good game, the Philadelphia Spinners are going to go well as well.
We saw a little fire out of him there. Saw a little bit of that energy that we'd like to see, and let's see if that ignites something in this Philadelphia team.
Still down by 5.
They have to do something, I think, before the end of this quarter if they're going to have a hope of competing in this game.
New York coming out in a strange little alignment there of their handlers in the backcourt. Nalade throws it deep to Ease, and it's just going to sail out of bounds.
Well, so here we go. An opportunity. You get the turn. What can you do with it? That's the question that are going to be asked of this Philadelphia team right now. They keep hearing out on the field for a D point, as we see, hoping to get a little of that handler movement and be able to make these turns count.
I like this adjustment. If you're Coach Maroon, you need to get your defensive breaks. You put your best throwers in. You see Gallon out there. You see Hieranet, Chow. Hieranet winds up for Gallon rather. And Chow winds up for a big huck. Doesn't release it. And they're just working it down the sideline here. And Hieranet does go for it. Finds Paparone in the middle of the field. Paparone surveys his options. Chow throws a bullet to number 31, Patrick Lindsay.
That was a strike right there.
Lindsay is fired up off the strike. good Philadelphia offense. They take their chances. Putting Hiernett on the D-line pays off on that point.
I think we can be pretty sure that Lindsey found the stickum for his hands. There's no way you're hanging on to this throw without it. That is a rocket.
That throw's got some cheese on it.
And there we go. A couple quick scores for Philadelphia, trying their best to make this game interesting, to get back in it. We have 2 minutes and 20 seconds left here in the third quarter. They're down by 4. But you know, a couple little openings left there by New York, perhaps, and we'll have to see how they can handle themselves. If they can get back to the type of game they've been playing and just lock this thing down and make it a worry-free end of the day for themselves.
Yeah, if you're New York, you can't be playing to not lose. You need to be playing to win. They know they have their lead, and they can't be thinking about that. They need to come out with the exact same fire that they've had from the first point today. So disc centered to Mazur.
Yeah, I mean, there's something to be said there, too, because you don't know if point differential is going to play a part in the playoff decisions
That's
here.
a very good point.
So it does matter how much you win these games by. So even if New York has a comfortable lead going into the fourth quarter, they're going to be pushing it still to make sure that they give themselves as much padding as they can.
Looks like McBride, Webster McBride, the first we're seeing of him. Oh! And number 64, Frederick Braz, comes around with a D on Mazur.
That is a big D at a big moment from Braz.
Mazur gets to see a lot of Braz on the matchup, and Braz gets the better of him that time. See what we can get. Oh, and greatest attempt. No good. Nobody there to back up Liang Chow on that one.
Just that throw, just carried out of bounds a little bit. Liang Chow tried what we call the greatest, where you of course, leap from inbounds, catch the disc in the air, and throw it back into the field of play. Just wasn't able to get much on that one. Unfortunate throw. But here's that nice D again. Braz just set him up a little bit for it. The throw was a little inside, gave him the opportunity to get there.
Braz getting a little payback on Mazur from when Mazur scored in the end zone the last time. Didn't get the D the first time, gets it now. McBride with the disc, up to Kuzmowicz.
1 minute. 1 minute.
1 minute left in the third quarter. Ooh, and McBride evades a speeding Liang Chow. Both teams are just working it up the sideline here. Mazur with the disc in his hand. Swings it over to Bosco. Nice break to smash Anderson. Puts up a floater. Oh, and McBride gets the triple tip. Finds Kuzmowicz. Kuzmowitz's fist finds the disc for a fantastic spike.
There's that situation. You know, we talk about it all the time when we're talking about Ultimate, when we're talking about defense. You have to catch those Ds. You have to come down with them strong. This stays in the air, especially if there's any kind of breeze. A little bit of a MAC disc will float up there, and it's fair game.
Here you go, take another look. Four players around it. Webster McBride comes down with it. Gets his first assist of the game to Kuzmowicz.
A pretty good case for a foul on the throw there, too, I would say.
Looks like it.
He didn't manage to get that to him.
Yeah, McBride, a beefier guy, so he can take a little bit of contact, but could have seen the penalty on that one.
All right, we're at 16-11 now with 18 seconds to go, and you know, I think that we can both agree there's a big difference between a 5-point lead and a 4-point lead going into the fourth quarter. So, you know, Philadelphia's going to be pushing pretty hard to try to get something out of this quarter. It's something that they actually do fairly well. They, in the past at least, have planned well for these end of quarter strikes and have managed to pick up some points there.
A good clock management team, that's for sure. So they got 18 seconds. They're looking to keep it away from New York, but also get the score. See how they can do on that. Gallen in on the offensive point here.
Ooh. A little miscommunication there.
Just looked like Hiernett was going one way. Gallen thought he was going the other way, and Ari Weitzman put up the disc just to make sure, and that's going to do it for half, or for quarter rather. End of the third quarter. New York leading Philadelphia by a score of 16-11. So we're going to take a break, and we'll be back.
First throw of the game, first point that we're out there. It's our game. Let's earn it.
All right, and we are back at Colonial Stadium, home of the Philadelphia Spinners. About to enter the fourth quarter here. The Spinners down by a score of 11-16, hosting the New York Rumble.
Yeah, it's we're headed into this fourth quarter. We got you have a Philadelphia team down by 5, pretty dire situation. 5 points, 10 minutes away from the end of their entire season in terms of making the playoffs. Obviously, they still have some games to play, and there's no question this team being the competitive team they are will play those games.
Sure, they're gonna bring it no matter what.
But yeah, I mean it's a pretty serious situation that they're in right now, and it's it's going to take a lot of heart and a lot of effort to get back into it. On the other side of the disc, New York could not be happier with the position they put themselves in for this fourth quarter. But as you said last quarter, this is not the time to take your foot off the gas. It's not the time to let this Philadelphia team back into it. You got to keep playing the same game you've been playing. Keep playing to take the game away completely.
No, indeed. New York is gonna stay on it, and we are gonna get a chance to see exactly what Philadelphia is made of here. Philly prides themselves on being one of the more fit and well-conditioned teams in the MLU. So after a hard day under the hot sun, steamy day, 3 quarters of work, just pure work from the Spinners. Are their legs going to be there? Are their 7 best? Are their 10 best? Whoever they're going to play, are they going to get it done?
Yeah, I mean it's definitely a test of will out there. It's a test of physical condition. It's a test of the amount of sunscreen you put on. We'll see how they do, and we're off.
Gotta hope the sunscreen tub is empty over there. They use so much of it. So here we go. Here, net. Over to Katzenbach. Philadelphia looks to be working their give and go a little bit. Move into some downfield motion.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely need that downfield motion. They need to score quickly and often. Oh, and there is a foul called on the catch there.
And that's an easy call if you're the orange and red, orange and black rather.
And a very gracious play by Littar there, just admitting to the foul, patting him on the back. Big throw
Sean
up
Murray.
now to Sean Murray, chasing it
Going
down.
deep. And he's in. Ooh. little misstep on the catch there, but Sean Murray does what he does, grabs the disc, and keeps the hope alive for Philadelphia here.
That was such a big, long throw. I think Murray had a little bit too much time to think about how he was going to catch that, how he was going to put it away when he landed. And he was also making sure he was in the end zone. Here it is, a big throw in the middle here, and then nice long throw to a wide open Murray, who somehow snuck in behind the New York defense and leaps in. And, of course, the 10-yard line being the end zone line, leaps over that.
Right at the front there. Jonah Wish there to back him up just in case. So this is it. This is why you do all those push-ups, all those sit-ups in February and January. You're working hard. You're running your track workouts all off-season. After you run your sprints after every game for Philadelphia. This is it. If they can pull it out in these 5 minutes, they keep the hope alive, and all that work is really going to come to something. So we will see.
Yeah, I mean it's something that I think we don't think about much when we watch these guys play, but how much work goes in behind the scenes, all the lifting, all the track workouts, the nutrition, everything that these guys think about in order to come out here and be at the top level and be at the best that they can be for their team.
They have to train just as much as any athlete you'd see in any sport, and they're not even full-time yet. So, and a beautiful throw from Mazer. Number 44, Robbie Gillies, sneaks in behind Mike Panna, just in the front end zone line. And Mazer just pads his totals, puts the buffer back up to 5 for New York.
Yeah, you see a little double cut here from New York where the first guy coming through sort of decoys the throw, and then Gillies coming in afterward.
We're going to get a good look at it here. See, there's your decoy throw. Yeah, there's your decoy cut. The cut's in the back there. Looks like Kuzmowicz. Kuzmowicz, sort of an understated but very valuable player for the New York team. You can get a lot out of guys who don't touch the disc a lot, that's for sure. Creates the space there for Gillies.
Yeah, I mean, we've certainly said Kuzmowicz's name a lot in this broadcast today, and I remember it because it's somewhat of a mouthful.
Yeah, it's not one of the easier names. We could call him Smith or Lee, but
he might take offense to that.
He might take offense. Yeah, let's stick with Kuzmowicz, and he's doing a good job, so I think he's earned it. Murphy with the pull now. Murphy with a left-handed pull down into that difficult end zone corner where we've been seeing a lot of trouble for both teams in that near end zone corner.
Oh, big D there.
And Jonathan
But
Cox goes for the D. Bears up there for the tip. Scholl getting bodied out, and looks like Bronner there for the D.
Great defensive effort there from Bronner. Reporting now from down in D.C., where Boston is visiting D.C. Boston is leading 5-3 down in D.C. right now.
Huge hug up to Bronner. And is he going to get it? No, just sails out of bounds. Dave Bayer on the coverage there. So Jesse Bronner, big guy. He's not number 23. Got different shorts on today, but he's a big guy for them.
Big guy, knows how to use his body too, knows how to use it to gain position. We saw it on that D just a few minutes ago.
Philadelphia's got their break opportunity here. Sizes it up. Oh. Cox saw it. We all saw it coming, and that's Sean Murray trying to D up, so it's not going to be easy. Dave Bayer looking for the huck to Scholl. Now pulls it back in. Katzenbach, is he going to open it up like he has all game? Puts it down to a Sean Murray, but nope.
Yeah,
Katzenbach, not a thrower so much. Not known for his throws.
Not known for his long throws. A very, I think, steady thrower, very good underneath, good working the disc around, but certainly not known for those deep attacking throws there. And we have a timeout here from New York, it looks like.
Yeah. Katzenbach more of your putter and your chip shot kind of guy. He's not going to blow you away on the fairway with your drives. So.
Yeah, plays a strong short game, as they say. Well, we'll take a little break here, and we'll be right back with more of this fourth quarter action on MLU Live.
Right, and welcome back. Coming out of the timeout here for New York, I want to take a second to tell you about Ultiphotos. Ultiphotos is the official photography partner of Major League Ultimate. Ultiphotos features an elite core of ultimate photographers across the U.S. and Canada who are passionate about the sport of ultimate. They're available to cover your ultimate tournament and game and can capture incredible photo memories for the participants and fans of every event. Check them out at ultiphotos.com and their complete MLU gallery at mluimages.com.
Yeah, I mean, I could not be happier with the kind of images we're seeing coming out of the league thanks to the guys at Ultiphotos. Very talented group of photographers all across the country, just putting in some great work and getting some great results.
Yeah, every photo they have adds 1,000 words onto the litany. I think you used that word earlier of litany of words that we throw around up here. So fantastic coverage from them. Faust around to Heyman now, up to Bosco. New York's offensive line just looking to do their thing. Faust outside the end zone, 8 yards out roughly. Swings it back to Abergan. Finds Mazer. Oh! And Mazer just off his shoulder, through his hands, off his shoulder, and behind his back. Can't come up with that one.
you feel like occasionally you got to give one back, and it looked like that was what happened out
Sure.
at
Well,
Mazur there.
Mazur's about plus 20 right now, so
Can we call that conservation of greatness? Or
I
is
think that's possible. Here we go. You see Pana putting it up to Redding. Oh!
that- oh my goodness!
Redding
What
comes
a catch.
down with it.
Oh
my
goodness!
gosh.
Rafari goes up and can't make the catch with a big defensive play there, and then Redding out of nowhere scoops it up off the turf.
In heavy coverage, you're going to see it again. Furfari is intended. It's intended for Furfari.
That is a nice D.
And Redding just pulls it out of the dust. Skylar Redding, not a name we say a lot, but just really comes up big for Philadelphia there when they needed it. That's a heck of a play. That's grab of the week caliber.
Great catch, and then right off of the turf. Tough call there for the official, but he seemed to have no doubt about it when he was watching it. And
Yeah,
good hustle. We'll see it one more
Referee's
time.
right there. Referee's not going to get this one wrong.
Nice D.
Beautiful.
Oh, and then catches that back top edge of the disc.
And an easy assist. So he gets a fantastic catch, an assist for his totals, and most importantly, he brings the Spinners within 4 with 6 minutes and 12 seconds left to play in the game here. Mike Bayer with the pull now. Sun setting here at Colonial Stadium in Plymouth Meeting, Pennsylvania. A nice pull right on the end zone, or right on the sideline there, about 5 yards into the end zone for New York.
Beautiful.
And a
pull
lofty
there.
throw, and here comes Mike Bayer. Oh! Heyman is there. Gillies back to Heyman, and Heyman can't hold on to it.
A little bit of the
Oh.
another throw by
And
Bayer
there's-
across. It doesn't work.
There's the story of the game. That's, if I had to show you one play of what it's like out here, Philly will get their opportunities and does something silly. Gillies is going to get another opportunity with it. Over to Terry, to Bosco. Finds Nalade wide open. Nalade definitely one of the faster players out on the field today.
You'd like to see that defense a little tighter on him.
See if Redding can do it again. Nice bid from Redding, but Bosco is able to hold on to that. Mazur being covered by number 4, Ben Fang. This is Ease, Ignacio Ease.
Good.
Ease up to
movement and
Mazur,
control.
upline to Mazur. They haven't found a guy who can shut Mazur down yet, except for maybe Braz. Braz has gotten a couple on him. A little surprised to see him not out here. See it swung around to Bosco.
Oh!
And Heyman, his second drop in as many opportunities.
2 drops and 1 point there for Heyman. That is utterly shocking.
Oh, and he's a
By
fiery
his
player. You
stance.
can see on his face he's not happy with himself.
And it looks like Coach Maroon is taking advantage of not taking advantage, but responding to the long point with a timeout call here, and we may see some changeover there. So, what do you? I mean,
You like that call if you're Coach Maroon there?
I would be inclined to say that I understand that call. You have probably a lot of tired legs in the field. You might be able to put some fresh ones on. That said, though, the New York side that was out there has made a couple of mistakes. If you leave them on the field, they might give you a couple more. It's a tough call, and my inclination at this point, judging from the history of Philadelphia's use of their timeout, is that this probably wasn't a great idea.
Well, yeah, if you're going off the history, Philly's not giving us a lot to work with. I don't know. I might be inclined to disagree with you there. I think this is probably more of a good thing for Philadelphia. They can bring in their 7 offensive players. You can change any player on the field during a timeout, so they get to bring in their offensive guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think the downside of the call is that the only thing I would say to it is I would have maybe tried to move the disc off that sideline before making that timeout call. You're pinned on that on the pylon there, right at the edge of the end zone. Can be a tough position to get out of. They have the throwers to do it, but maybe you make life a little easier.
Absolutely.
Quickly, I have a score from down in D.C. Boston leading D.C. 9-6 at the start of the second. So D.C.
Okay.
hanging in there with Boston, but
DC could use a win as well.
they certainly could. And if you want to follow.
Oh, Jonathan Cox on Sean Murray.
What a D from Cox. Cox has been getting close to that D for the last few points and finally got there.
Says, hey, Mr. Murray, here I am. Remember me on that close one. And couldn't come at a better time for New York. They needed that stop. And a nice lefty throw from Bronner to a laying out Littauer.
That was a little bit of a scary moment there with Littauer going in hard to the end zone. A couple defenders coming toward him from the other direction.
Oh, the Red Sea was colliding on Littauer there, and he held on for that grab.
Brave catch from Littauer.
Fantastic work.
And while we have a break, if you want to keep track of what's going on down in D.C. between the Boston Whitecaps and the D.C. Current, you can follow the D.C. Current on Twitter at DC Current, twitter.com/the DC Current. And then we'll have live sort of play-by-play, more or less, updates there on Twitter. Keep track of what's happening in that exciting game down there. Big game for DC, really. If they could pull out a surprise win against Boston, it would go a long way toward their playoff hopes.
Absolutely. Well, if New York is going to hold on to this one and pull this win out, then DC is going to need every win they can get. It's going to be a heck of a battle these last few weeks, seeing who takes that second playoff spot in the East. Oh! And Jonathan Cox again. 2 plays in a row on Sean Murray.
Cox.
Who is this guy?
Cox looked in his pocket and found Murray's number, and he is just calling it time and time again
dialing
right now.
him up. That's the very first throw. That's exactly the same play as last time. And Cox just gets it again. You see Weitzman with the disc. Weitzman, a recent pickup for the Philadelphia team, or the New York team, rather. You're not going to get called on the foul. That one was pretty obvious.
A little bit of a dangerous play there by Hiernett. Everybody's all right and back up. And there we go. We have a goal.
There he is, Mr. 3. Mr. Jonathan Cox gets the bookends, gets the D and the score. Oh, he's got to be feeling good. And Philadelphia, not so much.
Yeah, Cox responsible for what may very well be the nail in Philadelphia's coffin. There he is, just catching it wide open in the flat.
Yeah.
You know, he earned that every step of it. He earned it on the defensive side, got it back on the offensive side.
Boy, and you can't find a tougher matchup to take than Sean Murray, and Cox gets the better of him twice in this critical fourth quarter. Well, Philadelphia, I don't know. I don't want to say sayonara yet, but
it is looking like it might be the last of their playoff hopes. Not the last we'll see of Philadelphia, though, of course. This New York side, though, as we said before, has to keep in mind point differential. They want to keep this kind of lead that they have right now, be able to take these points into the later considerations for their playoff battle against DC. So we're going to see them still, I'm sure, playing very hard to maintain that.
Absolutely. And Shell going for the quick strike to Davini. Davini double coverage there. Oh, trying to go over the top, and he can't come down with it.
And when carried a little out of bounds on him, he didn't have a chance to really post up and come down with it.
Yeah, you can see the frustration on Davini's face. He's double coverage, but Philly needed that quick score, so Shell just had to put it up for him. And unfortunately for Philadelphia, that's a double coverage situation. That's going to be tough to come through. And New York, you're going to do a little bit of ball control here.
Or just
go for it. You know, what do I know? And Jake Herman in double coverage with a huge grab. Man on his front, man on his back, and everybody all on top of him, and he still comes down with that.
Good hands, goes up both hands, goes up strong, just pulls it down.
Round to Van Lang, Stoddard now with the disc, covered by Davini. Davini finds Terry, or Van Lang finds Terry. Van Lang with the disc again. Just over 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter here. Van Lang with the disc again. Philadelphia not pressing as much as they need to be pressing. Glazer draws the foul.
Yeah, definitely a foul there. A little professional foul, stopping that breakthrough from getting off.
They can't keep giving up these easy ones. There's not much coverage here. Not much life left in Philadelphia, if you ask me.
Yeah, I mean, the time is ticking away. They're down by too many points. New York has played a fantastic game here, stuck to their game plan, done what they came out here to do, and really what we're seeing now is just the dregs of the game, if you will.
Yeah, New York in no hurry to score. They got their 6-point buffer. They would always like a couple more points on the board, as you said, for point differential in the final standings, but...
And everybody just likes to score, don't they?
Sure,
there it
who
is.
doesn't like that one? Jake Herman, after the nice grab in traffic, gets this relatively easy grab right over the 10-yard line for the goal. Well, you know, I wouldn't say I was optimistic about Philadelphia going into this game. They certainly had an uphill battle to fight. But down 7 with a minute and a quarter left. I think it's time you can send the obituary to the printer. These playoff hopes are dead.
We certainly saw some flashes of the Philadelphia team that, you know, we had seen earlier in the season, but in the end, it's just a question of mistakes, isn't it? Nothing takes the air out of your tires faster than those drops, those throws directly into the ground, those just mental errors. And, you know, we saw it hurt today, and to the credit of New York, we saw New York take advantage of those, which is something that great teams do.
Yeah, absolutely, Nick. And you can see Philadelphia has realized, I think, the impossibility of what they're trying to do. They put in some of their lower level roster players. Mike Zargon picking up the pull. Ooh, that is Carter, I believe. Number 5, snagging that one off the ground.
1 minute remaining. 1 minute.
And that one is just a little too far. Too far, too fast, too much.
And it looks like, so the clock, as you note, will stop during the last minute of play anytime there's a whistle, so that's why we saw a little clock stoppage there. But we're back up and running now. New York working the disc. Certainly, as we said before, wouldn't mind tacking another point onto this thing. And
a nice grab on number 34.
That's Chris Wickus there with that nice
yeah.
grab.
Wickus hasn't seen a lot of playing time today, but
getting some minutes here at the end of the game.
Gallen with a little half body check of Smash Anderson there. And Anderson finds a wide open Ari Weitzman for the 4th, 5th, 6th nail. I don't know which one it is at this point, but
there are let's just be honest, there are a lot of nails.
There are a plethora of nails in this coffin.
They've used many nails. And yeah, so we're looking now at 21-13 lead for New York. That's a big jump for them in terms of point differential. That's a big step on their way to making these playoffs. You know, they obviously still have the DC team to contend with, which is no easy task in and of itself. That's a strong team down there in DC.
And, you know, I don't know if going into this season people would have expected New York to be in this position. Maybe not the team you would have picked for the second place in the Eastern Conference. Boston, sure. High expectations for them. They've certainly performed. But, you know, Philadelphia, the defending champions, expect maybe a little bit more out of them. Certainly not 4th place and out of contention. And DC, obviously a very skilled squad down there, so...
Yeah, I mean, I think New York was one of the sort of question marks coming into this. There weren't a lot of what people would have considered the big name players on there. Of course, they had a few. You know, Heyman, for example, and a couple others. And but at the same time, you know, seeing them in their tryouts, seeing how hard these guys were working to make this team and to make this team a winner, just, you know, gave you the idea that they had something there. And it took them a couple weeks to get their legs under them, but now they're really gelled as a team. They're playing very, very hard, pretty clean game of Ultimate, and as a result are winning.
Yeah, well, New York, you're going to have a pretty good talent pool. You can find a lot of gritty players. So you see Henning going up for the disc. Oh, and just out of reach. And that is going to do it for the Spinners.
Yep, we see the Spinners fall out of playoff contention there, and you know, tough fought game, but a great game played by New York to stick to their game plan. We'll take a little break here, and we'll be right back in just a couple of minutes with some wrap-up and a couple of interviews from down on the field. And back in a moment with MLU Live. Oh, we're coming back.
All right, and welcome back to Colonial Stadium. Final score here today, Philadelphia 13, New York 21. So that's going to do it for Philadelphia's playoff hopes. New York's playoff run continues. The drive only furthered by their fantastic performance today.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a great play today by New York. Great work there. You know, now they're looking at just going head-to-head with D.C. for that second place behind Boston. You know, the right to play Boston to go to the MLU championship. And yeah, it couldn't be more impressed. And, you know, one of the people that we are obviously very impressed by is down on the field right now with Alex Witchen, and that is of course Christopher Mazer.
The big man himself, right. Throw it down to Alex.
Thanks, Matt. So you guys had a really great game. You yourself had an awesome performance out there. You're rolling into the end of the season. Playoffs are coming up. What are you looking to do as a leader on the field?
I think this is the first time as a team we really played team ball, and it showed from the first quarter. The sideline energy was contagious. Everyone got really excited throughout every moment, and it's just really fun that we have found a really tight identity, and we're playing together as a team.
Awesome. What do you think some of the assets were that you guys had that put you over the Spinners tonight?
I mean, no one has Jonathan Cox. I mean, is there a better defender in the league? I don't think there is. I've never seen a guy get so many consecutive blocks. I wouldn't throw it near him.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
Back to you, Matt.
Thanks, Alex. You hear from Mazer there. Give a little shout out to Jonathan Cox, number 3 for New York, with those 2 huge Ds on Sean Murray at the end there.
Yeah,
Really
just fantastic defensive play there.
Setting a team effort on New York's part. So we're going to send it back down to Alex now. She's there with the winning coach Quaranta of New York, and see what he can attribute his team's success to. So throw it down to Alex now.
Thanks, Matt. We got Coach Q here down at the field. So you guys just had a really big win. How do you fire players up before they go out there?
You know, like our focus always is, and it was all week on the email chain. It's just, look, we do this together. You know, it's a funny cast of characters. It's a fun group of guys, and we just we focus on being us. You know, sometimes that means being silly. Sometimes that means being super fired up. But we've started to form an identity, and I think we know how to kind of just access it and go with it and continue to play on the field.
Awesome. So going into playoffs, what are you guys going to have to do? What are your...
It's a little early. You know, we still got to win our games. We obviously still have one more against Boston, and the ones against D.C., the one we have to make up from a few weeks ago, and another one that we had scheduled are huge. So, it's the next game. I mean, I know obviously it sounds cliche, but it's the next game. We're not there yet. We're not there yet.
You guys are going to take it all?
Yeah, exactly. We're going to take it all one game at a time, right? Yeah, I know it sounds cliche, but look, really, I mean, we tell the guys, look, the focus is today. The focus is today because we played poorly in the beginning of the season. Our back is against the wall. We kind of have to win every game out. So
awesome. Thank you so much. Back to you, Matt.
Thanks, Alex. You hear from Coach Q there, just a through and through professional. He knows he's got his team gelling well, got a good chemistry going there. He's got to be happy.
Yeah, I could not be more impressed with the work that Coach Q's done there in New York. Really, he's pulled this team together. They're a strong team, started a little bit slow, and have won a great big game tonight. And, you know, as you said, one down, few to go on their path toward trying to make these playoffs.
Absolutely. Yeah, you heard it from him. You heard it from Mazur. They just seem to be gelling. They just seem to be in the right place mentally. The team is doing well. And it sounds like it's a fun team to be a part of, to be honest. They seem to be on a roll.
All right. Well, that is all for us here from Colonial Stadium in Philadelphia. Thank you for joining us, and be sure to tune in next week. We'll bring you that New York DC game right here on MLU Live.